Hi, my name is Steve Gukas, co-founder of First Features and MD of Natives Filmworks, and this is TransPerfect Media's Inside Nollywood.
Good afternoon, Steve.
Good afternoon, Jacques.
It's a pleasure to have you with TransPerfect Media in Cannes. For the first time ever, TransPerfect is sponsor of the festival, and it's going to be for the next 2 years as well.
Awesome.
I'm very happy to have you here. So Steve Gukas is the founder and CEO of Natives Filmworks, Nigeria, producers in Abuja, the capital city. So could you please introduce yourself, Steve?
So my name is Steve Gukas. I'm a filmmaker, producer, director, and the company I represent is Natives Filmworks.
Thank you, Steve. So, First question is, what inspired your journey into film, and how did you come together to lead Native Filmworks?
My journey into film is a very windy one, in the sense that I got attracted to filmmaking, from watching early films from Tit for Tat to The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and other of Sergio Leone's films that I watched, and I was intrigued by how it was all put together. So I really wanted to get into film, but there was no proper film school in Nigeria at the time.
Okay.
So what I did was to go to a TV college that taught you television production. So I learned that, and then went into study theater arts. So I learned theater, producing and directing for theater, and then eventually went into advertising, left advertising, then went to the London Film School to study film production, and so that's how my journey into film started. And from the London Film School, I ended up in Namibia producing a film with Charles Burnett directing and starring Danny Glover. And it was after that I came back to Nigeria and then started Natives Filmworks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So I'm adding a question then. Why going back to Nigeria after this rather long journey through the UK, Namibia, other places in Africa?
Well, I believe
in South Africa.
Yep, it could have been anywhere, but the truth of the matter is that whilst all stories aspire to be global, at their heart they're local, and the bulk of the stories I want to tell are Nigerian stories. Nigeria was an environment where I was more comfortable. I knew what was possible in the industry and what can be done. So I would prefer that Nigeria was the launch pad, to reach the rest of the world.
Okay. So what challenges have you faced in the production process in Nigeria when aiming for international audience?
I think the main problem you have out of Nigeria is that of funds and infrastructure. Funding, in the sense that the access to funds to make the scale of films that you want to make is limited. And then until recently, an understanding of just what the audience is for Nigerian pictures and how to get across to them and how to appeal across the aisle to an international audience required a certain kind of budget, and those budgets were not possible. And then secondly is just infrastructure for, say, you have a lot of rentals, but very few for post-production, and things like the things that TransPerfect does, until recently when you guys are now set up in Nigeria.
Okay. So how did you manage to compensate this? For the budget itself and.
Well, to compensate for that, you sort of have to become very creative in how you fund the projects, and so you mix a mixture of money and barter, to be able to get what you want to do. So you could get locations on barter, you could get things like flights in exchange for product placement. You barter what you can't get as cash, and then you get cash where you can get cash, and you put all of that together. More recently, you're able to get equity investment as well, and you're able to also get sort of a bridging finance. So we've started from the point where you couldn't get any of those things to now where you can get them if the project is right and if the road to distribution is clear.
Okay, so it's getting somehow better.
It's getting better, yes.
Options for financing. Okay, that's good news.
Yeah.
So together we did project films like Love and Life, It Blooms in June, Cake, where we handle subtitling, dubbing in languages like Portuguese and French. How do you see localization playing a role in expanding the global reach of African content?
Well, without a doubt, it would play a great role. I say so because even just within the African continent itself, there are languages, that you go from the English speaking to the French speaking to the Portuguese speaking. And so what that means is that the ability to localize, in all of those languages makes it easy for you to access audience within the African continent to start with. And then you move on to the African diaspora, which is broken into the same. And then you move on to the rest of the world where you're hitting the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese, and who knows, maybe Mandarin and the rest of the languages to come.
Sure. And there is also the other rare role that we have not, looked at yet, which is the local vernacular languages like Yoruba, Hausa. In Nigeria, they are spoken by dozens of millions of people. Would it be an option to either dub or produce as an original voice in these languages to reach these people where they live and to get a better penetration among these audience, local audience?
Now you're talking of hyper localization.
Yeah, that's the other way. Because Nigeria is so big. People don't know, but it's nearly 250 million people.
Yep, and well over 200,000 languages.
Exactly.
So the bulk you can look at is you do it in the three major languages, which is Yoruba, Hausa, and English, and hopefully you get a large percentage of that 250 million people. But the majority of the country speaks English, and I think that if you did Pidgin English on top of English, and then you did those three languages, in terms of localization, you should be very well placed, to reach the audience.
Can you explain to people what Pidgin English is?
Pidgin English is a localized version of English language where they've shortened expressions. Added some local vernacular into it, but it's very uniquely Nigerian.
Yeah, it's only Nigeria that speaks Pidgin.
Well, we speak Pidgin in Nigeria, but there's a adulterated form of Pidgin that you get spoken in Sierra Leone and Liberia. So you get that. So
interesting. Okay, so we spoke about this yesterday. AI. It was our presentation at the NIFS. What do you think about the role of AI, for transforming the film industry? How do you see?
I think that AI is a powerful tool to be harnessed for different aspects of the filmmaking process. And I think when it comes to translations and localization, we were talking yesterday about how now with the aid of AI, you've gotten to the point where you don't have to cast different actors to do dubs for the main actor, because you can use the voice of the same actor and then just change the language of delivery from English to whatever language you want it to be. But even more specifically, when you get to the video, the ability to make the lip sync with the language that the character is speaking. I think that's a massive advancement for dubbing, particularly, where part of what makes people feel a slight distance, from a performance that's been dubbed is the fact that you're looking at someone speaking and you're sure that what you're hearing is not their voice. But when you can take that away, then you create an even powerful possibility for engagement with the story, by the audience. So I think that it has a huge role to play. Not to talk of what it can do in terms of subtitling as well, and all of the other things.
It's interesting what you say, because we are talking about improved quality and authenticity thanks to AI. When most of the cases we say, okay, AI is not good because it speaks like a computer, and this is not true. And what you are saying, if there is a character, original voice is English, and the patient is English, and you want to get the same patient out of the French version of the movie, then you're gonna get better result thanks to AI, the morphing of the original voice into French, than finding somebody somewhere, an actor speaking French, which
absolutely,
even if it's good, will not be that close to the original voice. So
absolutely, absolutely,
very interesting.
Absolutely.
Fact, Thank you for. I think we share some same ideas on the topic. So to make it broader, I mean, in your opinion, what makes a good film?
That's the source, if you can find that. But I think that what makes a good film is, without getting technical, is one in which the story is engaging. The characters are believable to the point where you're able to find yourself drawn into the story, but it's a story that can be understood by people wherever in the world and in whatever language it is, redeployed. I think that a good film is one that has a really good story that is engaging, and where all the other elements of production are employed really well in service of the story. And
So can you share some of your recent upcoming projects? How do you envision them?
Okay, well, so in the last 2 years, and that's part of the work that we're doing with you, is the fact that we've been doing something called First Features. And First Features is a program where we're giving first-time film directors an opportunity to make a feature film. So we're working with 12 directors, and each of them is making their very first feature film, which is why we call it First Features.
Okay.
But we go through a training program where it's a 1-year program, where we start by identifying story, working with director, writer, and a consulting body to help craft the story into a really good script. And then once that is ready, we have a 4-week boot camp where we basically pull all of our people we've worked with in different parts of the world. So in the first cohort, which this is, we had a faculty from the UK, from the US, from South Africa, and Nigeria to mentor and train the first-time directors in the different elements of production that they were going to encounter. Now, once the boot camp is finished, we then go to locations recce for the story. We find the locations, and then the director sits and does a lookbook, and then from that a short list, and then we go to a one-on-one mentoring session with me that takes them to the point where they're now ready for shooting. And then we go on location and film and finish. So that's what First Features is, and that's what we've been doing in the last 2.5 years. It's 12 films in the slate. We've done 8. We just delivered the 9th one, and there's 3 more to go. So that's essentially what we've been doing.
Okay, so
But coming to the end of First Features now, part of where we're in Cannes is that we have a new slate of 3 films that are in development, and we're sort of looking for partners and funding and distribution and all of the other elements that you require to sort of green light it.
Okay, so it's a very original approach. I think you are the only one to do that. It has proven successful now with the first slate of 12.
Yeah.
And so now you can pitch it, and it's going to be easier for you to get budgets for the next batch to come. And
hopefully.
Congratulations for that. I mean, it's very, very new.
No, thank you.
Approach, which answers like we are trying to do in our fields to train the young people into filmmaking, because there is a lack of expertise. So you are really training new directors, like we are training sound engineers. So it's a very nice initiative. What advice would you give? Well, I think you answered the question partly to emerging producers in Nollywood, to create content like yours that resonates globally.
I always just have one advice. It's preparation. You have to prepare, because in an environment like ours, anything can happen. And the more prepared you are, for example, what I say to the first-time feature film directors is, listen, not even Scorsese or Spielberg or Spike Lee or any of those greats ends up with 100% of their vision on screen. Things happen, you adapt, you end up with what you end up with. But the percentage that you end up on screen with is hugely dependent on how prepared you are. The more prepared you are, the higher the percentage that ends up on screen. The less prepared you are, the less the percentage of what you envision that ends up on screen.
Okay.
So preparation.
Okay, interesting. I also read that some producers, filmmakers, on purpose, they leave some preparation for creativity on the scene. So it can be, a way of making films.
Which
is, I also understand, technically speaking, an issue, because then you have to. It's a lot more work to get to the end result.
The truth of the matter is that the mantra for filmmaking that says whatever can go wrong will go wrong, right? So that, just baked into that, is the percentage of preparation. That you can never be too prepared, because something will definitely.
Something will happen.
So that's the percentage that you leave.
I understand. Okay, thank you, Steve.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.